Have you ever felt like a prisoner inside your own mind? You wake up with a simple thought, perhaps a lingering doubt or a small mistake from yesterday, and before you know it, the thought spirals into an overwhelming storm of anxiety, regret, and overthinking. The worst part? You know it's happening, yet you feel powerless to stop it. What if I told you that your thoughts are not the enemy? That the real problem lies not in the thoughts themselves, but in the power you give them. The ancient Stoics understood this long before modern psychology did. They lived through war, exile, political betrayal, and unimaginable hardship, yet they cultivated an unshakable mental freedom. How? By mastering their thoughts rather than being mastered by them. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, wrote Marcus Aurelius. If you truly understood this, how different would your life be? This is not just another article about philosophy. This is a blueprint for mental resilience, a step-by-step guide to integrating Stoicism into your daily life. By the end of this, you won't just understand Stoicism, you'll be practicing it. The only question is, are you ready to break free from your own mind? Phase 1. Stoic Awareness. Building the foundation of a Stoic mindset. Have you ever noticed how a single negative thought can dominate your entire day? Perhaps a colleague made a passing remark about your work, and suddenly that comment plays on repeat in your mind, making you doubt yourself. Or maybe you recall an embarrassing moment from years ago, and despite its irrelevance to your present reality, you relive it as if it just happened. Most people assume their thoughts are absolute truths, automatically reacting to them without questioning their validity. This unconscious engagement with every thought is what makes the mind a battleground rather than a place of clarity. But what if you could step outside this cycle? What if you could observe your thoughts without becoming entangled in them? The Stoics mastered this skill, understanding that true freedom comes not from controlling the world, but from controlling how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, reminded himself daily that thoughts are merely impressions, not commands. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Shifting from a reactive mindset to an observational one is the first step to regaining mental control. Imagine standing by a river, watching leaves float downstream. Some are bright, some are dark, but none of them affect you unless you reach out and grab one. Your thoughts work the same way. You don't need to hold on to every single one that crosses your mind. The problem isn't that negative thoughts exist. The problem is that we cling to them, replay them endlessly, and feed them with unnecessary attention. But what if, instead of engaging, you simply let them drift by? A. The observer's mindset. Practicing the observer's mindset helps cultivate this detachment. Rather than trying to eliminate thoughts, an impossible task, you train yourself to recognize that thoughts are merely mental events. The next time a wave of self-doubt, frustration, or worry arises, pause. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself, does this thought deserve my energy? Will this matter a week from now? This simple act of questioning breaks the automatic cycle of reaction, allowing you to regain control over your emotions. For the next 24 hours, challenge yourself to observe your thoughts rather than react to them. Each time a negative thought arises, label it for what it is, just a thought, not reality. The more you do this, the more you weaken the grip of automatic negative thinking. Over time, you will begin to notice a profound shift. Thoughts that once consumed you will lose their power, and you will no longer be a passive recipient of your mind's chatter, but an active observer, deciding what is worth your attention. Even with this newfound awareness, however, The mind has a way of resisting change. Thoughts have a tendency to linger, especially the negative ones, pulling you back into the spiral of overthinking. This is where another key Stoic technique, the cloud mind model, becomes essential. B. The cloud mind model. Imagine looking up at the sky. Some days it is clear and blue, other days dark storm clouds gather, casting shadows over everything. Yet, no matter how ominous they appear, clouds are never permanent. They come, they go, and the sky remains unchanged. The same principle applies to your thoughts. Most people, however, make the mistake of chasing clouds. They grip tightly onto negative narratives, replaying them over and over, as if analyzing them will somehow change their nature. But does chasing a storm make it disappear? Or does it only make you more exhausted? The more attention you give a thought, the longer it lingers. Instead of fighting it, the Stoic approach is to observe, accept, and let go. Epictetus famously said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This is precisely what the cloud mind model teaches. Instead of resisting thoughts or trying to force them away, you allow them to exist without engagement. The next time an anxious thought appears, visualize it as a cloud drifting across the sky. Do not chase it. Do not push it away. Simply watch it pass. If the thought returns, remind yourself, this is just another passing cloud. For the next 7 days, practice this technique whenever a negative thought arises. Close your eyes and picture it as a cloud. Observe it without judgment, then let it drift. At first, your mind may resist. It will try to convince you that this thought is special, that it requires your immediate attention. But with consistent practice, you will notice something remarkable. Thoughts that once seemed urgent will begin to fade on their own, without effort. You will realize that most of your worries are self-created illusions, and by detaching from them, you reclaim your mental peace. Bringing these two practices together, the observer's mindset and the cloud mind model, creates a powerful foundation for mastering your thoughts. The first teaches you to step outside the automatic loop of reaction, while the second helps you release thoughts without struggle. Together, they allow you to break free from the constant noise of the mind and live with greater clarity, focus, and emotional stability. Imagine what your life would look like if you could maintain this level of awareness every day. How many conflicts would you avoid? How much unnecessary stress would you eliminate? What would it feel like to wake up and move through your day without being hijacked by thoughts you never chose to entertain? The answer is simple: freedom. This freedom is not about suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent to life. On the contrary, it is about engaging with life more fully, without being enslaved by mental distractions. A person who masters their thoughts is not someone who never experiences negativity, but someone who refuses to be controlled by it. If you're ready to transform the way you interact with your mind, begin by applying these techniques today. Try observing your thoughts for a day. Let go of a passing worry as if it were a drifting cloud. Pay attention to how your perspective changes. Then, reflect. How different would your life be if you practiced this every day? Mastering your thoughts is not an overnight process, but each small shift in awareness brings you closer to inner peace. And once you taste this freedom, you will wonder why you ever let your mind control you in the first place. Phase 2. Stoic practice. Turning philosophy into daily habits. Mastering your thoughts is the foundation of Stoic awareness, but awareness alone is not enough. Knowledge without action is useless, and understanding without application is powerless. True transformation begins when philosophy becomes practice, when Stoicism ceases to be a set of ideas and instead becomes the lens through which you approach every aspect of your life. The transition from theory to practice is where most people falter. They read about Stoicism, feel inspired, but fail to integrate it into their daily routine. The reason is simple: change requires deliberate effort. But once Stoic principles become second nature, they act as a shield against anxiety, frustration, and suffering. Instead of reacting impulsively to life's hardships, you begin to respond with clarity, composure, and an unshakable sense of control. Two essential techniques will help you make this shift: negative visualization and the trichotomy of control. These practices do not require hours of meditation or radical lifestyle changes. They are subtle yet powerful adjustments to how you think, and they have the potential to reshape your entire experience of life. C. Negative visualization. Embracing loss to appreciate life. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that everything you cherish, your loved ones, your health, your home, is gone. How would you feel? The thought alone might fill you with panic, but this is precisely why negative visualization is one of the most powerful Stoic techniques. Most people take their lives for granted. They assume they will always have time to mend relationships, pursue their dreams, or enjoy simple pleasures. But nothing in life is guaranteed. The Stoics understood that by mentally preparing for loss, we increase our gratitude for the present moment. Instead of living in fear of losing what we love, we cherish it more deeply while it's still here. Seneca once wrote, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man. Fear of loss weakens us. It keeps us trapped in hesitation, anxiety, and regret. But when we accept that everything we love is fleeting, we begin to truly live." Each morning, take a moment to picture something precious to you, a person, an ability, an opportunity, and imagine what life would be like without it. Not to make yourself miserable, but to deepen your appreciation. If today were the last time you could see a loved one, would you argue over trivial matters? If this were your last walk in the park, would you rush through it or savor each step? This practice is not about expecting the worst. It is about preparing the mind so that when difficulties arise, they do not break you. When loss inevitably comes, as it always does, you will not be caught off guard. You will have already trained yourself to let go. But until then, you will cherish life in a way that few people ever do. For those who doubt the power of this exercise, consider this. How many moments in life have already slipped away unnoticed because you were too distracted by unnecessary worries? The meal you rushed through, the conversation you only half listened to, the sunrise you barely noticed on your way to work. These are all things you once took for granted. Now imagine how different your life would feel if you saw every experience as fragile, temporary, and irreplaceable. By practicing negative visualization, you train yourself to love life as it is, not as you wish it to be. You stop craving more and start seeing the immense value in what you already have. This is the true gift of Stoicism, not to take away suffering, but to reveal the joy hidden in the ordinary moments of life. D. The trichotomy of control, focusing only on what matters. Many people exhaust themselves worrying about things beyond their control, fixating on how others perceive them, dreading uncertain outcomes, or feeling frustrated by the actions of those around them. The Stoics recognized that this constant anxiety was not only futile, but also a direct path to suffering. Instead of allowing external circumstances to dictate their inner peace, they developed a simple yet powerful framework for managing life's uncertainties. They divided all things into three categories: those we have no control over, such as the past, the economy, the weather, or the thoughts of others; those we have some control over, like our health, career, and relationships, where our choices influence outcomes but do not guarantee them. And finally, those we have complete control over: our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. By shifting focus away from the uncontrollable and directing energy only toward what can truly be influenced, the Stoics freed themselves from unnecessary distress and cultivated a mindset of resilience and clarity. If something belongs to the first category, let it go. If it belongs to the second category, do your best but accept that some things are beyond your influence. And if it belongs to the third category, take full responsibility for it, because this is where your true power lies. Most people waste their lives obsessing over the uncontrollable, yet they neglect the one thing they can always control: themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This simple but profound truth is the key to emotional freedom. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by stress. Was it because of something outside your control? Maybe you were worried about how someone perceived you, frustrated by traffic, or anxious about the future. None of these things were within your complete control, but your reaction to them was, and that reaction determined whether you remained calm or allowed yourself to spiral into frustration. To truly internalize this practice, take a moment to reflect on the sources of your stress and anxiety. Grab a piece of paper and list 10 things that have been weighing on your mind. Now, categorize them based on the level of control you have over them. If something falls into the no control category, such as the past, the opinions of others, or external events, recognize that worrying about it is futile and make the conscious choice to let it go. For things you have some control over, like your health, career, or relationships, focus only on what you can influence, while accepting that some factors will always remain beyond your reach. Finally, for the things you have complete control over, your thoughts, actions, and responses, take full responsibility and commit to decisive action. By consciously organizing your concerns in this way, you shift your mindset from passive worry to intentional focus, freeing yourself from unnecessary stress and directing your energy toward what truly matters. By making this distinction, you reclaim the energy you would have wasted on external worries and redirect it toward things that truly matter. Imagine how different your life would be if you no longer obsessed over things you cannot control. How much mental space would you free up? How much stress would you eliminate? The answer is clear. You would be liberated from pointless anxiety and able to focus entirely on what you can change. Negative visualization and the trichotomy of control are not abstract exercises. They are tools for navigating the real world. They shape how you respond to challenges, how you view hardship, and how you cultivate gratitude for the present moment. The more you integrate these practices into your life, the more you will notice a shift. Trivial annoyances will no longer disrupt your peace. Unexpected hardships will not shatter your stability. You will find yourself reacting less and responding more with wisdom, patience, and resilience. Stoicism is not about eliminating emotions or becoming indifferent to life's ups and downs. It is about gaining control over what controls you. It is about living intentionally rather than being dragged along by circumstances. Starting today, apply these two principles. Imagine loss, not to frighten yourself, but to deepen your appreciation for what you already have. Recognize what is beyond your control and stop wasting energy on it. Instead, focus entirely on what you can change: your thoughts, your actions, your perspective. If you commit to these practices, even for just a week, you will begin to see a remarkable transformation. You will no longer be a passive participant in your own life. You will be in command of your mind, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny, because in the end, true freedom is not found in controlling the world. It is found in mastering yourself. Phase 3. Stoic Challenge: Strengthening the mind through experience. Understanding Stoic principles and applying them in everyday life is an achievement in itself, but true mastery comes through challenge. It is easy to remain composed when life is comfortable, but the real test of Stoicism happens when adversity strikes. The mind, like the body, grows stronger when it is pushed beyond its comfort zone. Just as an athlete must train under stress to build endurance, a Stoic must willingly expose themselves to discomfort and confrontation to cultivate resilience. This phase is about stepping beyond passive understanding and embracing the trials that forge mental toughness. Two of the most powerful Stoic challenges are voluntary discomfort and handling insults with humor, practices that train both physical and emotional endurance. Voluntary discomfort: choosing hardship to build strength. Comfort is a double-edged sword. While it brings ease and pleasure, it can also weaken us, making us fragile in the face of hardship. Many people live in fear of losing the comforts they have accumulated, be it financial security, social status, or physical well-being. Yet the Stoics believed that the best way to overcome this fear was to meet it head-on. Rather than waiting for hardship to arrive unexpectedly, they sought out discomfort intentionally, treating it as a tool for growth. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often practiced voluntary discomfort to prepare for misfortune. He would sleep on the ground instead of in his luxurious bed, wear simple, coarse clothing, and eat the bare minimum despite his wealth. He did this not out of necessity, but to prove to himself that he could endure hardship. He wrote, "Set aside now and then a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By deliberately experiencing discomfort, he removed its power over him. He no longer feared poverty because he knew he could withstand it. This exercise is not about self-punishment, but about gaining perspective. When you expose yourself to discomfort willingly, you realize that much of what you fear is not as unbearable as your mind has made it seem. Modern life offers endless conveniences, but relying too heavily on them weakens mental and physical resilience. To incorporate this practice, start small. Once a week, take a cold shower instead of a warm one. Skip a meal and notice how your body and mind react. Walk instead of driving, or sleep on the floor for a night. These acts may seem insignificant, but they teach you two powerful lessons. First, that you are stronger than you think, and second, that comfort is not a necessity, but a luxury. When you train your mind to embrace discomfort, the unpredictable hardships of life will not catch you off guard. You will not panic when faced with setbacks, nor will you crumble under pressure. You will have already tested yourself, knowing that you are capable of enduring more than you once believed. Instead of fearing what might happen, you will meet challenges with a quiet confidence because you have already chosen to face them. Handling insults with humor: the art of emotional resilience. Few things trigger an emotional reaction as quickly as an insult. Whether it is a sharp remark, a passive-aggressive comment, or outright ridicule, insults have a way of inflaming the ego, making us feel small, defensive, or angry. But why do words have such power over us? The Stoics believed that it is not the insult itself that causes harm, but our reaction to it. If you choose not to be offended, then the insult loses its power. Instead of letting criticism disrupt your peace, you can turn it into an opportunity for growth, or even amusement. Epictetus famously said, If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. This means that no one can truly offend you without your consent. If you decide that an insult is meaningless, it becomes just another collection of words. But how can you practice this level of detachment? The answer lies in humor. One of the most effective ways to handle an insult is to embrace it with self-deprecating humor. Rather than getting defensive or retaliating, respond in a way that deflates the tension. If someone calls you lazy, reply with a grin, "You have no idea, I'm actually world-class at it." If they mock your appearance, shrug and say, "Luckily, I have a great personality to make up for it." By responding playfully, you signal that you are secure in yourself, and the insulter is left powerless. This technique is not just about deflecting negativity, it is about rising above it. When you refuse to take an insult personally, you demonstrate emotional mastery, the ability to remain unshaken regardless of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Your sense of self-worth should not be at the mercy of other people's words. When you no longer depend on their approval, their insults become meaningless. The next time someone tries to offend you, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, does this person's opinion truly define me? Do I need their validation? If not, then why let their words disrupt my peace? Try experimenting with humor in daily life. When a friend teases you, play along instead of getting defensive. If a coworker criticizes your work, smile and say, "Good, I was worried I was doing too well." Watch how the energy shifts. People expect resistance when they insult others. When you deny them that reaction, you maintain control of the situation. Over time, this practice builds an unshakable sense of confidence. Insults no longer sting, because you have conditioned yourself to see them as opportunities rather than threats. You stop wasting energy on pointless arguments and instead cultivate a sense of lightness. Humor is a weapon that disarms hostility. It turns confrontation into a game where you are always in control. Turning Stoic challenges into daily strength. Voluntary discomfort and handling insults with humor are not just abstract ideas. They are tools that reshape how you interact with the world. When practiced regularly, they build a mind that is adaptable, resilient, and free from fear. Choosing discomfort teaches you that hardship is never as unbearable as it seems, while learning to laugh at insults prevents others from controlling your emotions. Together, they form a powerful training ground for mental toughness. If you want to test your progress, set up a personal Stoic challenge for the next week. Commit to experiencing one form of voluntary discomfort, a cold shower, a skipped meal, or a difficult physical challenge. Then, observe how you respond to criticism or insults, making it your goal not to react defensively. Can you laugh instead of getting offended? Can you embrace difficulty rather than avoid it? By putting yourself through these controlled struggles, you build the resilience to handle real adversity when it comes. The Stoics did not aim to escape hardship. They embraced it, prepared for it, and ultimately thrived because of it. They knew that the more they tested themselves in small ways, the less vulnerable they would be to life's unpredictability. Every act of voluntary discomfort strengthens you. Every time you laugh at an insult instead of reacting, you gain mastery over your emotions. These small acts, repeated over time, transform you into someone who is unshakable, untouchable, and truly free. Ultimately, the only way to know whether you have mastered Stoicism is to test yourself in the real world. The choice is yours. Will you continue seeking comfort and validation, or will you challenge yourself to grow stronger? The path to resilience begins now. Choose wisely. Phase 4. Stoic integration, making Stoicism a way of life. Mastering resilience through voluntary discomfort and learning to handle insults with humor is only the beginning of a deeper Stoic transformation. The true goal of Stoicism is not just to react better to challenges, but to live with clarity, purpose, and unwavering inner peace. This final phase is about fully integrating Stoicism into daily life, where it is no longer just a philosophy you practice in moments of difficulty, but a guiding principle that shapes every decision, every response, and every moment. One of the most profound tools for this transformation is memento mori, the practice of contemplating mortality. This perspective is not meant to instill fear, but to awaken urgency and appreciation for life. The moment you fully grasp that your time is limited, everything changes. Trivial concerns lose their power, procrastination disappears, and you begin to live with the intensity and purpose that most people only experience when facing the end. G. The memento mori perspective, living with the awareness of death. Imagine being told that you have exactly 1 year left to live. Would you continue worrying about what people think of you? Would you spend your time scrolling mindlessly through social media, stressing over trivial inconveniences, or avoiding the things you know you should do? Or would you finally embrace life fully, speaking your mind, pursuing your dreams, and cherishing every conversation as if it were the last? The Stoics understood that most people live as if they are immortal, postponing happiness, delaying action, and assuming that time is infinite. But time is the only resource you cannot replenish. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life." This does not mean obsessing over death, but rather using its inevitability as motivation to live deliberately. Memento mori is the practice of regularly reminding yourself that death is not an abstract concept, it is a certainty. Instead of fearing it, the Stoic accepts it and allows it to sharpen their focus. If today were your last, what unfinished words would you regret not saying? What experiences have you postponed for someday? Why wait? When you recognize that every day is a gift, you stop wasting time on what does not matter and start investing in what does. A simple way to internalize this perspective is to write a letter to yourself as if you had only 6 months to live. What advice would you give yourself? What priorities would shift? How would your choices change? This exercise is not meant to be theoretical, it is meant to wake you up. The person you are becoming today will determine whether, in the end, you look back with fulfillment or regret. The power of memento mori is that it eliminates excuses. You no longer wait for the perfect time because you realize that time is already running out. You do not waste energy on resentment or petty arguments because you understand how little time you have with the people around you. Every moment becomes valuable, not because life is short, but because you finally recognize its immense worth. Integrating memento mori into everyday life. Thinking about death may seem grim, but in reality it brings extraordinary freedom. Fear loses its grip when you acknowledge that, in the end, all fears are temporary. The embarrassment you avoided, the failure you feared, the risks you hesitated to take, none of them will matter when your time is up. So why let them stop you now? A powerful way to integrate memento mori into daily life is to practice intentional presence. Stop treating life as something to get through. Instead of rushing through meals, taste them. Instead of treating conversations as background noise, listen deeply. Instead of putting off dreams for another day, act now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not a call to despair, but a call to urgency and purpose. Every action, every word, Every moment is an opportunity to live fully engaged. By practicing memento mori, you unlock a rare gift, the ability to truly live without fear, without hesitation, and without regret. You stop waiting for happiness and start experiencing it in the now. And in doing so, you embody the ultimate goal of Stoicism, not just to endure life, but to master it. This is the final test of Stoicism. Will you continue to postpone the life you want to live, or will you take full ownership of every moment, knowing that each could be your last? The answer to that question will define your legacy, not in the eyes of the world, but in the only place that truly matters, within yourself. Stoicism is not a philosophy to be studied and admired from a distance. It is a way of life. It is not about suppressing emotions, but about mastering them. It is not about avoiding hardship, but about embracing it as fuel for growth. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to practice resilience, wisdom, and self-control. Every day is a chance to test your ability to focus only on what you can control, to detach from unnecessary suffering, and to live with unwavering purpose. But knowledge alone changes nothing. Understanding Stoicism is easy. Living it is where the true transformation happens. The Stoic does not wait for the perfect moment to apply these principles. They integrate them into the smallest choices, the simplest habits, and the daily struggles of life. The real question is, will you? How many more days will you allow meaningless worries to dictate your emotions? How many more opportunities will you postpone, waiting for a future that is never guaranteed? How much longer will you let external events control your peace of mind? The answer is yours to decide. Start today. Choose one Stoic principle: negative visualization, the trichotomy of control, memento mori, and commit to practicing it for the next 7 days. Observe how it shifts your mindset, how it strengthens your resolve, how it frees you from unnecessary distress. And if this journey has resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this philosophy, challenge others to think differently, and continue to refine your own practice. Like, follow, and stay engaged, because true wisdom is not a destination, but a lifelong pursuit. Your life is happening now. The question is, will you master it, or will you let it slip by? The choice is yours.